All right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back from break. Real quick, before we get started, I know we're back from break, but question. Don't you guys wish the break was a little longer? Yeah, I do too, I do. But what about this? The worst thing about coming back from a break is getting bad news. Well, I'm sad to say, but I do have some bad news for you today. I was just informed backstage that Congress just passed a law approving no pay raises for the military for the next 10 years. To me, that's a surprise. But I just want you guys to know, I'm just kidding, okay? It's just a joke. It's just a joke. But think about it. Did you guys get it? Did you just see what just happened? There you all go, assuming that pay raises were something that was guaranteed. Don't you know the word assume as a precursor to the word presume? I know we're all different. I'm a Southern boy from Charleston, South Carolina, a tech sergeant in the world's greatest Air Force. Yeah. Oop. Now, some of you may have thought when you first saw me that I'm a Northerner who thought soul food was something that you got when you get to heaven. I'm just saying. However, you see our past genetics, our past experiences, our emotions, and even our self-interest, they all influence our reception of the information that we receive, the ideas, as well as the scale of objects. For example, one day, my squadron got the bright idea that we were going to run up Adobe Peak for PT. Well, let's just say after that struggle, I went back home, I came across some interesting facts. So what I found out is research shows that our physical bodies and our ability to move influence how we view our surroundings. Dang it, now I know why that hill looks so much bigger. You see, people of similar activity levels such as mine, distances tend to seem a whole lot farther compared to all you fine active folks out there in the audience, with distance seem to look a little much shorter. Another interesting fact that I found out, that I'm sure most of you didn't know, is that fish have a sensory neuron called neural mass. Neural mass. They use this to perceive the movement of water around them. This explains why you never see fish run into each other, or why fish are able to perform movement in unison. Now, no one has ever confused me for a fish, at least I hope not. And I don't have a sensory gland that can process that type of information as fast as, let's say, blockchain. But what I can do is I can give you fine folks out there in the audience a look into how I perceive the movement of the water around me. And what I learned is that there are ways to see places beyond the perception. 2017, I was an ATC instructor, and I met a young airman. Let's just call him Airman John Jacob Jingerheimer Smith. Now, this airman was facing multiple challenges that most of us were obvious to. That troubled airman that most of us came across in our career. And if you hadn't came across him, you probably would have troubled him. Now, Airman John Jacob Jingerheimer Smith told me that prior to joining the military, he was homeless, he was sleeping under a bridge, and he hadn't eaten a week before going to basic training. And the main reason why he joined the military was to help bail his brother out of jail. You see, a year prior, he tried to use NFTs, but it didn't work out. Well, after that bombshell, I felt completely unqualified to deal with this situation. So I went to the MTL that initially asked me to go speak to this airman. And I asked, why did you think that I was someone that could relate? And this MTL told me, oh well, you look like you came from the same background. Okay. Same background? Can you clarify the observation, please? She said, you look like you grew up in the same types of neighborhoods, same type of lifestyle. Wow. Needless to say, I left out of that MTO's office furious. However, I decided afterwards to put my focus back onto that area. When I did, I was able to see both the MTO and I shared a common barrier. We had two different viewpoints, two different judgments, and we had two different perspectives. Because you see, I never grew up under a bridge. And just from looking at all of you guys, I can tell you know that I have never missed my mom's cooking. Too many times we find ourselves making assumptions based on the appearance of one individual, and we relate those same assumptions to reality. Now, I know the MTL had good intentions, but her assessment of our relatability came from a preconceived notion that, let's just face it, a preconceived notion that an African-American male had something or very similar backgrounds to another African-American male. Now, I'll admit, I was his fault as well, because I assumed that him and John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith's current troubles were related to his past experiences, and I made a judicious decision to question why I could ever relate. This is known as the Bayesian integration, or the act of combining prior knowledge with uncertainty. Let's put it in a simpler way. You ever walked into your section, found out somebody's gossiping about you? Doesn't feel good, does it, right? So now here I am, looking around, trying to find all of these people that are saying things about me. When I should be asking the question, why? Why are they saying these things about me? Is there any truth to what they're saying? Because what we project doesn't come from outside, rather it comes from within. You see, when we start to look inside of ourselves instead of outside, we begin to see things about ourselves from their viewpoint. What we find is that people will have their own thoughts. It's just the way they sense the movement of water around them. It's not personal. It's just how they view the other fish. This is one way I began to see beyond the perception. You see, once I listened and I understood without judgment, I was able to see that I am a relatable person. And soon, everyone started coming to my office to seek advice. I was beginning to build relationships. I was beginning to build teams of people around me. And what I found out is inclusion isn't just a 9-letter word. It is something that we all are striving for, to be a part of something. When I arrived in Travis in 2019, to my surprise, I ran into Airman John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. First words out of his mouth was, "Oh, snap! I don't know if you remember me, but I just want to say thank you for teaching me how to see the world differently." You see, the only thing I told him in 2017 is how you view yourself is how you will see the world. Turning things inward helps you carefully evaluate situations, it helps you empathize, and it helps clear your judgment. So I say to you, please, don't hold your views too tightly, okay? Because they may be wrong. Look at your views through someone else's eyes. Go back to your work sections. Give somebody a hug. Say a joke. Make them laugh. Stop assuming what they're thinking about you and just ask. Ask the question. I promise you, you'll be surprised to see what's on the other side. And just like I was able to, this is how you will begin to see beyond the perception. Thank you.